Alright, welcome back to part 3 of this Let's Play of the demo for The Mask of the Rose. And we are at home, sort of. And before we get back out there, I just want to say that if you happen to like this video, or even better, this channel, I would love it if you dropped a sub or a like. And I would also love it if you checked out this game for yourself. I would also super much appreciate any comment, either about the video or the game, because that's the only way I'll know if you like it or not. And having said all of that, it is actually time to get back out there. Oh, I should mention that this game, unfortunately, didn't have a save functionality in the demo, so I quit out after the second part, thinking I would be able to resume when I start up the game. That was not possible, so I had to replay the game up until the point where I left off. So some minor changes might have happened with the choices I picked, because there were quite a few. But I think we are roughly at the same place as I left it. Roughly. Yeah, I just realized that I actually think I have one place less on the map than I used to have, so something has changed. Which brings up the point that I had in the very first video, that this is a game and even a demo that is worth playing several times, because a lot of things can probably be different. I try to keep it roughly the same though, and still I think it impacted on some of the stuff we have. We do have the Tentergrounds Synagogue and the Bazaar. And I think we should start at the Synagogue. Yeah. An old synagogue, and one that has weathered the fall very well. Look for Archie's patients, the Landaus. We never met before, but I recognize these people anyway from Archie's description. They have to be the Landaus, the brother and sister pair. He's been treating David's stomach pains. Wait here, Rachel. I'll speak with this person. It won't take long. Good morning. Introduce myself as a friend of Archie. Say only that we have some common... No, let's be friendly. Nor here. I have the advantage, I'm afraid. I know of you through a friend of mine, the young Dr. Archibald Reed. He and I reside at the same lodging house. I am David's sister, Rachel Simcha Landau. She adds the first name and watches me significantly, as though I am supposed to have heard of her. I am Rachel's brother, David Landau. When he says this, his voice takes on the faintest trace of an accent, though he otherwise speaks entirely like an Englishman. Did Dr. Reed send you to us with some sort of message? I suppose I shouldn't call him doctor, as he didn't qualify. He would have known to find us here, but I can't imagine what message that would be. We'd paid his fees. No, I'm here on my own business. But he told me you might be here. What can we do for you? Explain that I work for the Ministry of the Census. Present the census as though it were my own idea. Simply state that I have questions. Explain. The Ministry of Accounting and Recounting have asked me to work on the census. I'll answer your questions, nor if you answer mine. Call it character research. Are you having peculiar dreams down here? Admit that I'm having peculiar dreams. Talk up the lurid misery of my nightmares. Imagine that Archie has paid me just this complaint. Admit that I am having peculiar dreams. Well, let's go with the nightmares. In truth, my nightmares become so extreme that I barely dare to sleep. When I close my eyes, I sense the dreadful malevolent presence. I asked you for your feelings, not for a recitation of your favorite Christmas ghost story. Rachel, it was only the answer to a question. Trust me, I interrupt just before we reach the dreadful clanking of the ominous chains, or press the lidless stare of serpent eyes. I had forgotten until now, but I had dreamed of a snake that watched me in sleep, while all my limbs were heavy and too paralyzed to move. I Try to remember what it means, but the thought is gone again. Go ahead with your questions, Norm. Ask what she means about character research. Choose a question from my notebook. Let's go with the research. What did you mean when you said you had a question about character research? I write novels. They are published one chapter at a time in the Lily of London magazine. I was in the midst of one when the fall happened. My publisher insisted that I continue the story despite all. Rachel, are you certain you want to share so much? Does it matter? Sure, those precautions are behind us. Ask what her story is about. Ask about her inspiration to become a novelist. What are you writing about? If you take the Lily of London, Nora, you may have the pleasure of reading my next chapter yourself. Though I confess I am at a standstill as to what it will contain. My heroine was meant to set off for Paris, and there to be reunited with her lost beloved. But as the fall has transpired in fiction as well as in fact, I must resign myself that the courtship is ruined. Admit that I would deal even worse with such a situation. Ask about her inspiration to become a novelist. Yeah, let's go with that. I'm sure I encounter that sort of situation much more often. What inspired that choice of occupation? Do you know, it was another Yom Kippur many years ago. Our family gathered to break the fast. My Landau cousins at one side of the table, my mother on the other. The little Landau, so devout, scandalizing my mother with, she would say, their low manners. My mother in turn scandalizing the Landaus by seeming so almost English with her lax views of cash rut. Each side unaware of how horrible it was affronting the sensibilities of the other. In such a moment, you either retire to your room to compose a savage Roman clef, or you throw open the window, lean out and scream. Those are the only possibilities. Rachel does herself an injustice. She writes with real sympathy. You haven't always described it that way. I simply wish you would draw less extensive from life. Extensively from life. Choose a question. Matters of the heart. Ask whether Dave has any romantic commitments currently. Let's go with the flirtatious. Are you married or otherwise promised? Oh, not recently. I was in love once, or so I imagined. Charlotte, she and David had an understanding. She converted, in any case. Becoming Christian suited her social aspirations. Rachel? Yes? Yes! I take leave to dislike your unworthy suitors as heartily as you dislike mine. Milton is a yellow-eyed, flash-dressed, hot-handed creature, at least 2 decades too old for my sister. I hardly think he and Charlotte are comparable. Ask whether David has any romantic commitments recently, or currently. Hint for more information about Rachel's unsuitable friend. Do you have any romantic commitments now? He doesn't have any commitments. In fact, I would go so far as to say he is utterly without prospects. He stays home and reads. I haven't been well. He warns me of spinster, but he's headed very much in that direction himself. It isn't the same thing at all. I agree, it isn't. I have my work to support myself. But what's become of your funds since the fall? You'll have to marry if you don't mean to end your days a pauper, brother. David looks too irritated to reply. Choose a question from my notebook. Household organization. There's something I'd like to ask all the new people I meet. Who else lives in your household? Our home contains myself, my brother, and our housekeeper. It isn't a grand establishment. We had a US housekeeper for many years, but she passed away, and Phoebe has lost her place with a neighbor of ours. For a moment, no one speaks. Rachel brings up a legend common amongst the servant class that the Neath contains many other fallen cities. They say if you travel far enough through the cave, you'll find the ruins of Kitesh. And if you walk 3 times the circumference of the cave counterclockwise, you'll come to the palace of the Queen of Sheba. No one has discovered even one edge of the cave yet. She's not meant to be easy to find. We're flirtatiously receptive to her tale. You intrigue me. Rachel glances at him and looks mildly embarrassed. Damn it. Okay. Did I have any more questions? Yes, employment. Flirtatiously asked what Dave does for a living. We already know that it doesn't do anything, don't we? Now I'm curious, Dave. What line of work are you in? We have money in the funds and interest in several businesses in London and elsewhere. Time was when I used to be very busy in answering letters from Livorno from Amsterdam. These days my time is not so extensively occupied. We're expected elsewhere. Perhaps we'll meet again. Goodbye, then. Judging by the clock, I can afford another errand before supper. Okay, one more place to go. Wonder what that exclamation sign is for. Let's go to the Bazaar. The ministry offices are tucked up snugly under the unexplained and very un-English tower. Find my way there when Gris is not present. Go when Gris will be there. Okay, let's start with when Gris is there. Gris has already shown me once how to visit the ministry. Nonetheless, this time I want to make sure I visit while she is also there. So I invite myself to accompany her when she walks to work. Do you have anything more? Hand over a finished census page about David. My page take the census. Mr. Pages take the census page eagerly and spend some time scanning it. There is something it is looking for, something it keeps looking for, that I cannot find. It seems he cares for his sister more than for any other. Draw this conversation to an end. I render my thanks and good wishes to all parts and bow myself out. The hallways outside are hushed, except that if I listen closely, there is a sound like something walking with an uneven gait. Its shoes, or perhaps its toenails, click on a polished floor. It is nearly time for supper. It's good one of you is here for supper. Neither Archie nor Gris has made an appearance today. Harjit, good evening. I'm looking for Mr. Reed. Is he here? Archie, he's upstairs. Harjit turned up as the constable of these streets right around the time London fell. I didn't see him around here before that, but he's watched over the neighborhood since. Listen. Yes. I know all the old maps have been outlawed. But if you come for his atlas, do you think you could leave it with him? Gives him a lot of comfort, remembering all those little villages in Scotland where his family used to live. Put in a good word for Archie's map collection. Let Harjit get on with it. This is probably ministry business. Let's stick up for old Archie. Yeah, leave Archie his map. He's not doing any harm with them. That isn't why I'm here. Let them keep chatting over the matter. Oh, he's through with his doctorate? I hope no one's too ill. I know Archie's worries, trying to do a physician's work when he didn't finish his training. Does he often treat people? Explained there was a lot of injuries around here. He treats lots of things. Broken bones, stomach complaints, nightmares. There was even some businessman with a tainted jar of honey, he said. Archie's had plenty to keep him occupied. He hasn't happened to treat a tall young man that had lost his memory? No one like that. Have you ever known Archie to make mistakes? Prescribe the wrong dosages? Mention that Archie has expertise in drugs and poisons? Throw doubt on Archie. Admit I wouldn't know. Do we know? I'm not so sure. Let's stick by him though. During his training, Archie made an extensive study of drugs and poisons. He's as good as a druggist. The basement is full of his concoctions. May I see them? No, absolutely not. No one can enter the basement but me. Of course, Archie chooses this moment to come down the stairs. Harjit, I hope you're well. I'm sorry, Archibald. I'm here in the line of duty. It's about David Landau. Did something happen to him? I only saw him today. Shortly after your visit, he died by poison. No. Because we saw him after that? Okay, this is weird. Died. The pure man. Oh, the poor man? The poor man, I guess he might say. React with shock. What? Yeah, exactly, but I saw him very recently. I'm sorry to have to bring you this news. Is Rachel alright? Is there anyone with her to protect the house? The Landau said you were the last person to speak with David. That the fatal dose must have come from you. I don't understand. I'm here to arrest you for murder. Okay, this is very suspicious. Wait a moment. Perhaps Mr. Landau's own relations took against Archie's manner and they're blaming him for what he didn't do. My manner? Your way of speaking is peculiar, love. Sometimes people leap to a conclusion for the wrong reason. I knew it was just a time till someone went awry. There's too many folks ill, and I can't. And can I cure the whole town? Speak up for Archie, yeah. This must be a misunderstanding. Archie is dedicated to keeping people alive, and I don't see him having the nerve to hurt anyone. Not on purpose. No one can measure another person's courage just by looking. Ask if... Let Archie go. Ask where Harjit is taking Archie. Where are you taking Archie? Newgate Prison was destroyed in the fall. For the time being, prisoners are held in the HMS Undulate? That's a weird name for a boat. Sounds like a very insalubrious environment. Cold, damp, infested with vermin. Breathing the vapors of the Thames. The Thames? Yeah. It might not be good for the health of the prisoners. You're not talking your way out of that. You're not talking your way out that way. No, I mean, if you don't mind, before we sit out, I'd like to collect a few doses of this and that. I think that might help to settle bad lungs and prolonged coughs. You're asking whether before we go you can be allowed to rearrange your collection of drugs and bring some of those drugs with you. That isn't quite how I would be phrasing it. When you stand accused of murdering a man through the use of potent toxins? Oh. For the sake of your future guards and settlement, I think I must refuse. Ask if Rachel is alright. How is Rachel doing? Does she have anyone with her? There's her housekeeper, Phoebe, and some friends from the community. They're preparing the body for burial. It can't be left unburied very long. Ask where David's been buried. Where are they burying him? They mean to take him to a Jewish grave at Ball's Pond. Rachel said there might be a dispute with their Spanish relatives, that their mother was buried somewhere else. But she did not think it would change the outcome. Let Archie go. Horatio, I'll be back as soon as I can. Don't let out my room to anyone else. Next time on Mask of the Rose. If you want to see the surface again, tell me the truth. What's in the bottle? I don't know what it is. I only know what it does. And you don't need to lie. I know I'm not seeing the surface again. Archie's books. Help me burn them before they give Harjit the wrong idea. There's a true story in here, and thousands of false ones. Okay, this is cool. After Archie and Grizz met at Horatia's boarding house, Archie's love for Grizz was smashed only by Grizz's dislike for Archie. Archie made a passionate offer of marriage. Grizz gave her refusal in blunt terms. Desperate to forget, Archie turned to drink. Meanwhile, Grizz, Mr. Pages, compelling, but for next time, more heart crumblance is required. Rachel, my own people won't permit disturbing the graveside. But you, I know you'll help me. For your friend's sake, even if you don't care about David. My companion is good with the shovel. Rachel, I'm sorry, I had no idea. We thought you were dead. I was. And we need to see to my murderer. The next time he tries, I might not be able to come back. We hope you have enjoyed playing the Mask of the Rose demo. Wishlist Mask of the Rose on Steam. Return to title screen, quit to desktop. And I have already wishlisted Mask of the Rose on Steam, but otherwise I very much would have. It usually helps indie developers quite a lot by doing so, so if you like indie games that you play, please do so as well if you like them, as I said. Alright, so we have reached the end of the demo for Mask of the Rose. I found it to be pretty good so far, and hopefully you had fun watching it as well. I would love it if you dropped a sub or a like, and also please look into the game. I would also love to see you again in future videos, but for now it is time to say bye bye.